Our top stories this hour. Over the years of independence, the volume of foreign investment attracted to Kazakhstan's economy amounts to $380 billion. The Prime Minister of Kazakhstan presented a report on the first results of the national census to the head of state. Details in our news digest. Almaty intends to enter the top 100 cities in the world. Stay tuned to find out how the southern metropolis plans to achieve this and what it will focus on. $19,169,550 people live in Kazakhstan. Kazakh Prime Minister Askar Mamin reported on first results of the nationwide census to Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. Mamin noted that men account for almost 49% of the population and women for 51%. There are over 11 million working-age people. The share of Kazakhs in the ethnic composition has reached 70%. The heads of governments of Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan discussed the issues of cooperation, including in such fields as trade and economy, investment, water and energy, transit and transport, industrial cooperation, and healthcare. Kazakhstan is one of the largest investors in Kyrgyzstan's economy. Thus, the accumulated volume of capital investments since 2005 has exceeded $1 billion. Trade turnover between the two countries is also growing. For 9 months this year, it exceeded $680 million. However, the parties intend to bring the volume of mutual trade up to $1 billion. As a result of the negotiations, several intergovernmental agreements were signed.
Создание оптово-розничных центров на территории Кыргызской республики как раз обеспечит своевременную поставку.
The creation of wholesale and retail centers of the territory of Kyrgyzstan will ensure the timely delivery of fruit and vegetable products of the neighboring country to Kazakhstan and further through Kazakhstan to the north and in the European direction. In turn, this can also serve as a channel for the supply of product from Kazakhstan to Kyrgyzstan. Therefore, while solving this problem together, we will carry out the assigned task on enhancing trade between our countries.
Задачу по увеличению товарооборота между нашими странами.
Предполагается централизованная поставка сельхозпродукции.
Centralized delivery of agricultural products is planned from Kyrgyzstan to the territory of Kazakhstan, as well as to other countries. I think that this project is significant in issues of food security of the two states and will give a new impetus to our trade relations.
Государств и придаст новый импульс нашим торговым отношениям.
Kazakh entrepreneurs have signed more than 30 investment contracts and 6 non-commercial documents worth $2.2 billion. New projects will boost the development of priority sectors of the country's economy, including agro-industrial complex, healthcare, mechanical engineering, and energy. This was the result of a regular meeting of investors that took place in Nur-Sultan. More than 400 specialists took part in the annual forum, including major investors as well as world experts. All participants have come to an agreement that Kazakhstan is a favorable country for investments. The country is the leader among the CIS countries in attracting foreign investments. Over the years of independence, $380 billion have been invested in the economy. New investment instruments have been developed to enhance the potential for growth. The mechanism of the Strategic Investment Agreement was introduced this year. It provides guaranteed stability of legislative conditions on the part of the state for the entire period of validity.
Бұл келісімде біздің инвесторлар Қазақстанда қандай шарттармен жұмыс істейді, қаншама жұмыс орнын.
On what terms do our investors work in Kazakhstan under this investment agreement? How many new jobs will be created in the country? What kind of help will be provided by the state? All this is now being determined, and the general rules of the contract after its conclusion will be observed for up to 25 years.
Жасалғаннан кейін бұл 25 жылға дейін бұл келісім шарттың жалпы ережелер сақталатын болады.
У нас план реализовать этого.
We aim to put into operation a factory within 2 years. In 2 years, we will start producing laminated chipboard in Kazakhstan. We plan to reach a production capacity of about 60,000 cubic meters of finished products per year. Import will total about $25 million, where laminated chipboard will cover nearly 30%.
30% можно так сказать именно по ЛДСП.
over 6 billion tenge have been invested in Kazakhstan's agriculture in 2021. Over the year, capital investments in the sector increased by almost 50%, ranking.kz reports. In general, statistics show that over the past 5 years, investments in the sector have been growing by an average of 25% per year. Preferential loans, as well as other mechanisms of state support, served as the main support tools for the agro-industrial complex. For instance, only in 2020, the state financial institution Agrarian Credit Corporation had financed 75 investment projects totaling almost 46 billion tenge. In 2021, over 7,000 entrepreneurs received support for more than 209 billion in national currency. The funds were used for spring field and harvesting works, purchase of equipment and cattle, opening of industrial and family dairy farms, construction of greenhouses, purchase of drip irrigation systems, and more. Kazakhstan intends to introduce criminal liability for illegal circulation, sale, and theft of dangerous pathogens. Such measures are contained in the new biosecurity bill, which was approved on the first reading by the members of the lower house of the Kazakh parliament. The document was presented in the Mazhilis by the country's health minister Alexei Tsoy. According to him, 25 billion tenge of the state budget is provided for its implementation. This amount will cover the social protection of specialized employees, the equipping of the state laboratory base, the creation and maintenance of a unified information system in the field of biosafety, as well as the maintenance of the collections of microorganisms. Overall, the bill amends 13 legislative acts, including 3 codes and 10 laws. Tsoi also explained the methods and rules of biological protection of the country from dangerous pathogens and industrial microorganisms within the new draft.
Механизмы хранения будут закрепляться отдельными нормативно-правовыми актами, в которых будет указано, начиная с момента
Storage mechanisms will be set out in separate legal and regulatory acts, which will specify appropriate storage organization requirements, proper facility protection conditions, and required temperature conditions, as well as logistics, deliveries, and transportation of these pathological agents to the storage base. Security will be organized through the Ministry of Internal Affairs, that is, the entire regulations. Each step will be clearly outlined in terms of interaction algorithms and security requirements for facilities.
Каждый шаг будет прописан в виде алгоритмов взаимодействия и в том числе требования к безопасности к объектам.
Almaty intends to enter the world's top 100 cities. Such an ambitious task is set by the leadership of the metropolis. To achieve this aim, it is necessary to change the structure of the urban economy. Almaty Mayor Bakhtiyar Sagintayev reported at a briefing. If presently the main income comes from the trade component, now completely different sectors of development need to be focused on. These, according to Sagintayev, include 10 areas: cinema, animation, ballet, fashion, esports, architecture, and other creative industries.
Мы собрали всех представителей креативной индустрии нашего города.
We brought together all the representatives of our city's creative industry and we created a council, started to move. Where and how do we start? And we decided that each of 8 districts should have its own creative hub so that the young people who live there didn't have to trip across the city. We started from Alatau district, a new one in Almaty. It turned out there is a very good 3-story building. We immediately decided that we would make a creative hub in this building.
Сразу же приняли решение, вот в этом здании мы сделаем креативный Almaty Creative Hub.
Today, this hub is visited by almost 1,000 people. At the same time, now representatives of the Department of Creative Industries, the first one in Kazakhstan, are working on new projects. For example, they are creating a new design for a tram depot and much more. 704 newly reported cases of the coronavirus infection were registered in Kazakhstan in the last day. Karaganda region had the highest number of 129 infected people. The capital is in the second place with 122 new positive coronavirus cases. Pavlodar region took the third place. 79 patients caught the infection there. Since the beginning of the pandemic, the number of coronavirus cases detected in the country has exceeded 977,000. According to Kazakh Health Ministry, nearly 23,000 Kazakh residents continue to receive treatment for COVID-19. More than 4,500 out of them are in hospitals. Over 8,223,000 people have been fully immunized in Kazakhstan to date. Mandating vaccines should be last measure that can be resorted to only when there are no other options left to improve immunization coverage. This was stated by Dr. Hans Kluge, WHO Regional Director for Europe. In addition, the organization stressed that each country should discuss vaccination of children separately at the national level.
The effect that mandating vaccination could have on public confidence and public trust, as well as vaccination uptake, must be considered. Mandates must be supported by appropriate policy considerations, a comprehensive implementation plan. Ultimately, mandates should never contribute to increasing social inequalities in access to health and social services.
COVID-19 booster shots can be administered 5 months after the second dose. Israeli scientists came to this conclusion after conducting studies involving 80,000 vaccinated people. The test results showed that the immunity from coronavirus is starting to decrease after the 4th month.
At this point right now, we are happy to notice that among those who have received the third booster shot, the rates of severe illness are lower than among those who had not received the third booster shot. It is too early to determine the exact clinical estimate of vaccine effectiveness, but it seems to be considerable as compared to those who have received only 2 doses over 5 months ago.
According to Russia's health ministry, maternal mortality due to COVID-19 in the country has increased threefold this year compared to the previous year. Turns out all the women who died were not vaccinated. Russia began vaccinating pregnant women who are at the gestational age of 22 weeks or more in the summer and nursing mothers in the fall. Doctors also urge those women who are only planning a pregnancy to be immunized as well.
За неполный 2021 год материнская смертность увеличилась в 3 раза. И сейчас, по последним данным Минздрава,
For incomplete 2021, maternal mortality has tripled. According to the latest data from the health ministry, 2 puerperas, or pregnant women, die from coronavirus infection every day. These are very serious figures. All the pregnant women who died from COVID-19 were unvaccinated. To date, only 1.3 to 1.5% of pregnant women in different regions of the country have been immunized.
1,3–1,5% в разных регионах беременных, которые вакцинированы.
Kazakh director Oralbek Sarabasov presented a unique gift in honor of the 30th anniversary of the country's independence to the Museum of the Library of the First President of Kazakhstan. From his personal archive, the film director handed over the footage of a historical event, the inauguration and oath of the first president of Kazakhstan, Nur-Sultan in 1991. The video captures not only the ceremony itself, but also the moment of Aksakal Shakir Abenov's giving the blessing to the newly elected president of the young country. In 1993, this footage became the basis for a 20-minute documentary, Басты. Now, the source materials transferred to the museum will serve as the basis for future scientific and exposition projects.
Жалпы қазақ батаменен ел көгерер дейді ғой. Елбасымыздың ең тұңғыш ұлықтау сәті.
The Kazakh people believe that a blessing carries a special gift and power. I am very happy that we managed to film the key moments of history, the inauguration of the first president of Kazakhstan, in those days when we were still young. This moment of blessing vividly shows how our state has entered a new era of its development. This is the time when our country has just acquired its independence. And with this blessing, today we are crossing the 30-year milestone of our independence.
Тұңғыш президентіміздің ұлықтау сәті. Сол ұлықтау сәтіндегі бата алып тұрған сәті, батаменен міне көгеріп 30 жылға аман есен жеткенімізге тәуба дейміз.
Historical footage within the exhibition Historical Choice, the Era of Independence, will be available for museum guests until January 28th. The exposition also includes rare photographs and documents reflecting the history of the formation of Kazakhstan as an independent state.